Hello and welcome to Nuts and Bolts, the job search informational sessions brought to you by the Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia Employment Resources Consortium, otherwise known as POWER. POWER consists of 11 law schools in our region dedicated to promoting best practices in law school career development and assisting in the career success of all of our students and alumni within the legal communities and within the profession as a whole. The Nuts and Bolts, the Job Search Series, is a collaborative effort to educate our students and alumni on some professionalism basics to supplement your legal studies and to help you develop into a well-rounded lawyer. My name is Rosalind Lister, and I am the Assistant Dean for Career Services at West Virginia University College of Law. Today's session will cover LinkedIn for law students. We are really glad you're here. Let's get started. To begin, I'm going to share my LinkedIn profile with you. Not so much that it's a great LinkedIn profile, but it provides us a starting point for where we can start looking at employment opportunities. And that's really what this session is all about. To begin with, hopefully many of you already have a LinkedIn profile. If you don't at this point, there are some simple ways to get started. I'm not going to elaborate too much on that in this session, but at the end of the session, there is a link that you can go to provided by LinkedIn, which will get you started on developing a profile. A profile consists of a number of different areas. Just going to touch base on a few of these before we get started into the job search information. You have your demographic data here, where you live, and perhaps what your job title is, or perhaps in your case is that you're currently a law student. The About section is sort of a brief elevator speech about you, so employers can, or anyone looking at your LinkedIn, has a quick view of what you're all about. Other things can be included in here, including your experience. I have mine listed out here. You can also include a resume. And then also your education. The education portion becomes quite important in terms of your job search, particularly if you're doing outreach to alumni. The reason for this is that if LinkedIn knows the schools that you went to, both for law school and for undergrad, those schools will pop up if you happen to access a company, a firm, or a person who has some affiliation with that school. So that can be very useful. There is a skills and endorsements section. In other words, you can ask people to endorse you for certain skills and take a skills quiz in order to determine what your skills might be that would be useful in the workplace. And there's also a section for recommendations. It's useful to have this as an adjunct to any recommendation list that you might provide to an employer when you're applying for positions. So let's look up here at the top, and let's start by looking at the jobs section, which is a little briefcase here at the top. You can see that there is a section here that allows you to search by title or organization, and it allows you to search by city, state, etc. So I'm going to put in here for this one, attorney, and the greater Philadelphia area. We come up with 619 results. Probably you don't want to jump through a bunch of results like that. You want to narrow them down a little bit. So LinkedIn provides for that opportunity. It allows you to list experience level. So I'm going to select associate and entry level. And it allows you to look at some other aspects too, such as when the position was posted, so you can see how old it is, the job type, etc. So I selected both entry level and associate positions for this. And you can see that now I have 205 results. As we kind of jump through these here, you can see there's a number of different positions. Down here, I found that at a firm called Quaker Houghton, there are 5 Purdue alumni who work there. So as a Purdue alumni, this might be of interest to me. So I could click on this and find out who those alumni are and maybe make an introduction of myself to them, trying to find out a little bit more about the organization and just trying to make a connection with them. So that's where, as I mentioned before, having your education section becomes very helpful because it will point out at any time what schools that other people have attended, and that can be very useful for you. So again, you can narrow this down in a number of different ways. You can look at all the filters that are possible with this. Again, the job type, whether it's a remote position, and the type of job functions that might be involved with it. Simply by going through the filters, it will help narrow your search and make this a little bit easier for you. I think sometimes people just tend to put in the title and hope for the best, but I think narrowing it down can be useful. Another thing you can do is a simple search in LinkedIn for alumni. So if we go back to my particular profile here, again, not the best in the world, but it's my profile. I figured I might as well use it. You can look up here and simply put in my case, I'm going to put, I'm going to put Purdue University. And you'll see I'm already connected with Purdue University. So it has a list of all the people that I'm already connected with. And then it also has, try searching for Purdue University alumni. And allows you to find out more and more whether you're connected with them or not. I'm going to put another one in here of a school that I'm not connected with. University of Cincinnati Law. We click on this. You can select to follow the University of Cincinnati College of Law and see any of the updates that they provide. You also can look for jobs at the university as listed here, and you can look for alumni. So this becomes really helpful. If you're looking for alumni here, right now it lists that there's over 4,000 alumni that have a LinkedIn profile from the University of Cincinnati College of Law. If you want to know a little bit more about them, let's say you're looking in the Columbus, Ohio area, you can click on this, a little link there that says Columbus, Ohio, and it shows you how many people are there. And you're able to start parsing through these and seeing what alumni live in the area of interest for you. So that can be useful. Now, what do you do with that information? You can certainly make a connection with them. You simply click on connect, and then LinkedIn will provide you the opportunity to send a personal note. So you can simply state, I noticed you work for X organization in Cincinnati. I'm very interested in relocating to the Cincinnati area, and I'd like to connect with you, learn a little bit more about what you do and perhaps about your career path. I can tell you from my perspective, just about every alumni that our students connect with responds in some way. Some people are a little better than others at keeping up with their LinkedIn, but generally they get a response. So that's a very quick way to access some alumni, particularly if your school doesn't have an alumni database per se. If your school has any regulations regarding contacting an alumni, that might be something that you want to connect with your career services department about. Okay, if we go back here to my profile. Another thing you can do is to join groups within LinkedIn. And this is helpful because you're able to learn a little bit more about certain organizations that you might be affiliated with, perhaps an undergraduate organization, a sorority or fraternity, perhaps one of the organizations you're affiliated with at the law school. So you can simply look for groups and join groups of interest. Let's just put in American Bar Association and see what they have going on. Okay, so you can follow the ABA. You can also look further into their information in terms of job search results, and also groups that are affiliated with the ABA, so the subgroups that might be of interest to you, and connect with those. Those can be useful connections, particularly to learn about things like conferences, upcoming events, and the latest news within the profession regarding those practice areas. So that's a little bit about the groups. What I want to leave you with essentially is that LinkedIn, I think, is one of the most useful and probably one of the most overlooked resources, particularly in my opinion, as it relates to making connections with alumni in areas of interest to you. I think for most of us, alumni are one of the better connections we have in terms of the job market. And again, underused commodity. So certainly take advantage of that. A couple of other tips regarding LinkedIn. Try to keep it fresh. Try to update your LinkedIn periodically. Once you connect with an alumnus or with another professional, try to keep that connection going. I'm not saying that you should hassle them all the time or constantly email them, but if you see an article you think might be of interest to them, or you've learned something that they are presenting at a conference, something like that, certainly congratulate them or forward the article to them so they can learn a little bit more. And it shows that you're on the ball, right? It shows that you are paying attention to what it is they're involved with. It keeps you in their mind for future opportunities as well. So LinkedIn as an electronic networking tool is something that's going to help throughout your career. You are going to be adding to your network year by year now, and it's extremely important to keep that fresh and updated and uniquely yours. Okay, one more thing I want to share here, and that is this, which is a little bit of information regarding sort of a summary of what I spoke about today and a little bit more. So you can see, I mentioned if you haven't started a profile in LinkedIn, simply going to the LinkedIn profile development section, here's the link for that, is useful. And what I've done here is just give you a few tips from what I've just spoken about regarding getting started on LinkedIn and starting on your job search in LinkedIn. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. And please, as I mentioned before, don't hesitate to contact your career services office to learn more about ways that LinkedIn can help you. Thank you very much.